What are we doing in a tuk-tuk at 4:30 in the morning? We'll show you in a minute. Cambodia. First of all, we're going to show you what we learned about getting into Cambodia.
We'll show you Siem Reap, where we went to the largest religious structure in the world, Angkor Wat.
And then we took a couple of history tours that were a little hard to see.
But we all know, we've heard the quotes, that it's important to learn from history, so we're not doomed to repeat it.
Okay, let's get into the video.
Let's go.
I'm Craig.
And I'm Lucinda. Hey, we sold everything.
And we retired early.
And now we're traveling the world.
So subscribe and follow along.
Because you never know what we're going to get up to. Okay, let's go. Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Our last night in Laos was at this beautiful hotel, the Easton Hotel in Vientiane. This is what $88 gets you in the capital city, where we had this awesome rooftop dinner. But anyhow, to get into Cambodia, you actually have to fill out an e-arrival. Our airline contacted us to say this was required before we could board the plane. So here's a link to the Cambodia website where you need to fill this all in. Now, what we learned is we only did the e-arrival, which does not give you the e-visa. You have to do the e-visa online also. And since we didn't do that, we weren't allowed to go through customs yet. We had to go to another lineup to get our e-visas and pay for it there. It's $30 US each. So if you do them both online before you go, getting through the airport is simple. Now the airport is not that busy. There's only a few flights that go there each day, and it turns out to be an hour away from Siem Reap. So what we also learned is you're best off to contact your hotel, because that's the most inexpensive way to get a ride to your hotel in Siem Reap. What are we doing in a tuk-tuk at 4:30 in the morning?
Craig.
Yes.
Tell the people why we were in a tuk-tuk at 4:30 in the morning.
So we elected to take a tour of Angkor Wat, and we hired this one fella, Siem Reap tuk-tuk. Here's our chariot for today, and here's our driver, Sangha.
Sure.
And he told us to get out there for sunrise. That's the time we needed to go.
And it was pretty amazing. We were there with lots of other people, but there's room to watch, and it was nice.
But we also have a picture of what it looks like on March 21st. There's an event that happens at solstice where the sun comes up right over the temple. So after we were in the crowds and saw the sunrise, that's when we decided to hire a private tour guide to take us through the temple.
And they are right there, and they are excellent. They have to go through lots of training to be able to do this, and we learned so much.
Here's some pictures and some video clips of what we saw there.
So some things that are kind of cool about Angkor Wat is to know that there's several temples around there, and Angkor Wat is just one of them. What's really interesting about these temples is that they reflect Cambodia's history, which includes both Hinduism and Buddhism. And so you'll see interpretations of that throughout the temples. We went to just 4 of the several temples, but together they make up what people say is the largest religious site on earth.
And what we did learn is this area was so large at one point, and they're starting to discover that now about what the size of these villages and cities were like. It's an amazing history. There's so much to learn there. So after a long full day of touring this area, we went back to town, and this is where we'll show you this hotel that we got into there.
Amazing. I think almost the best one the whole trip.
Yeah. This hotel is called the Central Suite Residence, and it's only about 2 blocks from Pub Street. That's the area you go to at night.
It's so close, but you get that 2 blocks away and you can't hear a thing. It's amazing.
So here's the hotel. Here's our room in Siem Reap.
You're not gonna believe this place. It's beautiful.
Wow, this is quite a hotel room. Huh.
Wow. That's amazing.
So how much is this room, Lou?
$79 Canadian. $79 Canadian. And they gave us beautiful Cambodian scarves. for our stay. What a place. This is awesome.
Now after the hotel, we went out to Pub Street, and what a fun place.
Yeah, it was really neat. We went up to this one restaurant, just had some appies there and saw some really cool traditional dancing.
And the drummers, the music they did live, and this one lady
was
doing the
amazing.
singing. The next day we did this museum where it showed a lot of artifacts that they've recovered, and there was one book there from 900 AD.
I know.
It's crazy. It's just amazing history.
I love an old book.
Yeah. So there was our 2 days in Siem Reap. Next thing was Phnom Penh, and how did we get there? We took the bus.
Yep.
This was VET Airbus, and it was only $45 Canadian for both of us, and it was fantastic.
It actually was a really nice bus.
So our next stop in Cambodia was the capital city of Phnom Penh. We stayed at this one place called Tribe Hotel, and again, we got real lucky with picking these hotels.
Yeah.
And here's our room for the next couple of nights. It's a little bit smaller than what we're used to lately,
It's nice. Who cares?
but it's sure nice. So part of the reason why we came to Phnom Penh is we know that there's history museums here about the genocide that happened from 1975 to 79.
So something to remember before the genocide happened, when the Khmer Rouge came into power and the Pol Pot regime came into power, was that Cambodia had already gone through 5 years of civil war before that. So it was a terrible, arduous time for the people of Cambodia throughout this decade.
We knew it was going to be tough to see some of these museums and history, but we thought it was very important to see it. The first tour we went to was the Genocide Prison Museum. That's where there was an interrogation center right within the capital city. It was so informative to go through there. The way that they've preserved it and the way that they're laid out the education with the audio tutorials, it was fantastic. But again, it was very hard to see some of this stuff.
Tough to see, but it's important, like we said before, we got to learn from history, right?
One of the facts that I learned there that it's hard to believe is they got so many of these internment camps throughout Cambodia when this was all happening. But at this one alone, there was 20,000 people that were processed through here, and there's actually only 12 documented survivors.
The next part of the tour that we went on was to the Chung Ek Genocidal Center. This was one of the many killing fields that was in Cambodia when the Khmer Rouge and Pol Pot were in power. This has been turned into a memorial for people who lost their lives at the killing fields, and it's a really beautiful memorial that they have there. But again, there's lots of information. It was hard to see some of the things that we saw there, but they've tried to turn it around and make something positive out of something so negative. And of course, there's so much more information on this genocide and the things that happened there. If you want to know more about it and learn about it, you can look online, find books, watch the movie, The Killing Fields. There's lots of places to find much more information.
Now, the one thing that I learned on this audio tour that I never even realized, that by the time 1979 happened and this was all over, the population of Cambodia was roughly 8 million at the time, and almost 3 million people lost their lives during this 4-year period. Anyhow, they were very tough tours to see. Again, I think it's very important to learn history like this, because if we forget about this time of history, it's doomed to repeat itself. So there's our tour of Cambodia. Next thing, off to Vietnam, Ho Chi Minh City.
Let's go.
That's on the next video. Now oh Jesus, that's windy.
I'm here.
First of all, I'm going to share with you a couple of things we learned about what it takes to get into Cambodia.